Flight boss, bitch, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right here, this is a re-upload to the How to Find the Money in Astrology. And this is another reason why I stopped using that camera, because for some strange reason, it's chopping up my videos, it's making my videos not upload right and things of that nature. So this is totally inconvenient. It takes about 4 or 5 hours for the video to upload. I could have did a video way earlier. Video take all day to upload. So alright, we fixing that right now. So off the bat, this is how you find the money in astrology, you know what I'm saying? And I always I be freestyling, so man, the one takes be good, man. I be hate having to go back on shit. But let's talk about it. Now, how it's gonna be many different ways of how you can find money in astrology, but you know what I'm saying, one of the main specific ways is the second house. Because people value so much. They value money, they value material things, and they value comfortability. Like I was saying in the previous video, you know what I'm saying, the moon is exalted in Taurus. So anytime the planet is exalted somewhere, it's on top of it. So, the moon likes to feel, likes to connect, likes to manifest, and it gets to, when it's on top of a planet, it's channeling. So whatever, or top of a sign, is channeling. So the sign is channeling it, and it's channeling the sign. But if it's the above, it's channeling down. So it wants to experience its high vibrations on a lower spectrum, and whatever channeling from below up want to experience that lower pleasure to experience a higher vibration. So what happens here is Taurus in general get to experience manifestations and get to know how to understand the realm of reality of manifesting pleasures, and manifesting connectiveness, and manifesting caring, and manifesting nurturing, all things of the moon. But they have the access and ability to do this on an earth perspective. You see what I'm saying? From a material perspective, from a lower chakra perspective, which is, there's no right or wrong from each perspective. You see what I'm saying? So ultimately, what's the second house? The second house rules Taurus. So second house is carrying all these mechanisms. The second house is the house of values, which you have the value. I mean, your values, whether that's a person, place, or thing, and what you have to offer to the world, whether that's internally or externally. Internally could be a gift, a hidden talent, something that you just have to give off and give out from the inner world. And externally could be a person, place, or thing also. And when you put your values and what you have to offer to the world together, both of these come together to help build your self-esteem. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just, we're in a society right now where you are forced and trained to search for comfortability instead of being in uncomfortable situations. So you're constantly not learning anything new. You're just constantly in receive mode and receiving knowledge that's regurgitated. And it's setting your values in fixated places. And it's placing what you feel like you have to offer to the world in fixated places also. So when you talk about society, to feel comfortable is like the South Node. The South Node is what you brought from the previous life to make you feel comfortable here. What set you on your spiritual path is things that make you feel uncomfortable, because that's anytime you're in a realm of reality where you're in a location in a place that you wasn't in before, right? You're unaware, so you may feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? You feel uncomfortable being in places that's not home, or being in places that you wasn't before. But you have to get comfortable with it. That's why you're uncomfortable when you just get a new job and things of that nature. So for the most part, when you're talking about this society and them making you geared towards comfortability, then you're always constantly running to your south node, and you're never really experiencing your north node until you're old. And then if you're doing that in every vessel that you're in, you're never going to experience your spiritual path young. You know what I'm saying? And get on it in a young way. So, that's here or there. That's another video. But let's talk about how to find the money. Because since we want to talk about values in general, society gears you towards valuing things and valuing things outside of you. So a lot of times, if we want to talk about money and material gains, we have to talk about it in the second house. But we know I like to rise high. So the second house, I don't like to say it's about money or about material gains. It's about just your values in general, and what you have to offer to the world, which coming together to build your self-esteem. But since we are in the realm of reality dimension, it's a society we in right now, then in so many ways, shape, or form, in a lower density, if we're going to talk about money and material, we have to talk about the second house, because society gears you toward comfortability. And now, since you value comfortability, you're going to value the things that gain comfortability. And in this dimension, it's money and material gains. So, and the physical. So now let's talk about how to find the money. Now, second house. Now this is one of the ways, knowing where the second house lord is at. So the second house, you see what I'm saying? Wherever the second house lord is at, which is the planet that rules the second house. So whatever sign you have in the second house, the planet that rules that sign is actually the planet that rules that sign. Wherever house it's in is going to be where your focus should be, if it's not already, because that's going to be the area of life and the location that you actually can access some money. Now, I'm not saying being successful like the second house, or I'm not saying having to work hard on something like the sixth house. I'm talking about planting seeds right now, because the earth house is working like this. The second house is planting seeds. The things that you value, that's planting seeds. You have the talent, you're going to go plant seeds, right? You're going to go to auditions. You're going to go do things, right? That's planting seeds, right? Sixth house is the second earth house, the house of Virgo. This house is working on it, making it part of your day-to-day routine, your scheduling, making it part of your task, criticizing yourself and others in that same realm of reality, and looking at the details so you can make it perfect, or you can make it perfect, and watering that seed every day, working on that seed. That's like watering and nurturing the seed every day, right? Now the 10th house is seeing the status of it, seeing it blossom, seeing it grow. You can enjoy the fruits and labor from that, from what you just planted. You see what I'm saying? And this is what you could be known for. It can be part of your status. You can teach others. You can create a business around it. So it can become your career. So off the bat, let's talk about where to find the money in the second house. Now the second house, say the second house lord is in the first house. A lot of times the money is going to be found dealing with your personality. With the second house lord in the first house, you may have a hell of a personality to begin with. You see what I'm saying? You may be a very artistic person, a person who knows how to express arts and crafts and what they have to offer through their personality and through their personal issues and personal affairs. Now, personal issues also, the more you value and feel like this is what you have to offer to the world, it may be something that other people look at as a hindrance. You could look at it as something as a gift. The more and more you take that and value that as a personal issue, the more and more you could find and fall and stumble in situations where you find the money. You see what I'm saying? Or find a seed that you can plant that you can gain from. Also, personal affairs. That's personal people, places, and things in your life, right? The more and more you value, and that can take you there. That takes you there when you apply the second house to the first house, because wherever that planet that rules the second house is at, as long as you take that energy of that house, the sign, and apply it to where the planet lord, the lord of that sign, the planet, apply it to that house, the more you're going to understand, the more you're going to start to put yourself and start to manifest situations, because you're starting to put your third eye and you're starting to insight that area of life. You see what I'm saying? So then once you start to insight that area of life, you start to insight that timeline. So once you start to experience those timelines can take you to the pot of gold. This is what the real rainbow means. This is really what the rainbow is. When color spectrums come together and create a form of, and this is what they mean when they say at the end of the rainbow is a pot of gold. This is like your rainbow. All your planets, your house lords create rainbows. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, say, like second house lord, right? And so your second house lord is in the fourth house, right? That travel is a rainbow from each location. You see what I'm saying? And at the end of that rainbow is a pot of gold, right? But in order for you to see that rainbow, you have to know yourself. If you're seeing all other lights and all that shit, aka you having to pay attention to other shit. You know what I'm saying? You getting out in the world paying attention to other shit. You're not seeing your own rainbow. Then you looking for money in elsewhere. You may be trying to find it in other houses. That ain't the house that you're supposed to find it in. You see what I'm saying? And find all kind of stumbles and falls in your life. But second house lord in the first house, yeah, is dealing with your personality. You may be personally gifted with something. You see what I'm saying? It may be somebody in your personal life that can take you to the area of life where the pot of gold is at. It may be somebody, it may be a personal place that you always go, maybe a personal situation that you always dealing with that can incite you and gear you on your path. You know what I'm saying? You may be going through something personally that just make you wake up and be like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? So that's second house lord in the first house, how to find the money. Now, second house lord in the second house. Now, this is a disclaimer. Anytime a house lord comes into the house of rules, it creates a balance because it gives you power and authority over that house. But with comes great power comes great responsibility. So it's your job not to be too overpowering and too controlling in that house, but also not be too naive and be too passive. Learn to balance. You know when things are going too wrong, so you know how to speak up, and you know how to not take advantage over things, so you know not to be too manipulative. So right here in this mechanism, you have power and authority over what you value, the people and places and things that's in your life that you choose to value. You know what I'm saying? Whether people like you or not. And you have the power and authority over what you feel like you have to offer to the world. So a lot of times, even people who are untalented feel like they have something to offer to the world. A lot of times, this is their talent. Sometimes you ever seen them type of people who be like, dang, why is this person famous and this, that, and the third? Shit, you never know. They might got the second house lord in the second house. You see what I'm saying? So they planted a lot of seeds in the right areas because they valued the right type of circumstances and the energies. Whether they was capable to utilize them energies in this vessel or not. They're going to receive the benefit from it because they're the ones who planted seeds in those areas. You see what I'm saying? And that's not to say that everybody with the sign is not gifted. I'm just saying that it's a benefit for people with this sign, even if they're not gifted. So it's even a plus for people who are gifted and got this alignment. You see what I'm saying? So second house lord in the second house. A lot of times where the money at, the money is going to be through a person, place, a thing that you value, or what you have to offer to the world, whether it's internally or externally. So keep that in mind. Pay close attention to the people that you value, the places that you value, and the things that you value, and play. And so that means budgeting and pay close attention to what you have to offer to the world, any kind of talent you got or whatever like that, or any kind of person that you're around that can put you in some type of position. Because ultimately, you're a person with good self-esteem already with the second house lord in the second house. Now, second house lord in the third house. Now, with the second house lord being in the third house, where you're going to find the money at here is in your surroundings or dealing with something, a person, place, or thing, or a situation that you're familiar with. It may be something that you may have learned, a certain task, a certain trade that you may have learned. That's where your money at. You got people who learn things every day and try to create a business off of it and don't go nowhere with it because a lot of times they don't have the second house lord in the third house. So a lot of times they learned a bunch of bullshit that they shouldn't have been learned in the first place, and they wasted their time. But if you are a person who felt like you have wasted your time, but you learned how to do something, no, if you got the second house lord in the third house, you better put that into use. You know what I'm saying? Like women, if you know how to do hair and you've been doing a lot of chicks' hair in your surroundings, in your neighborhood and things of that nature, and you just start thinking like, man, I just need to get a regular job. I'm tired of doing hair. Nah, you better go turn that into a motherfucking business. And also, like, dudes, if you've been fixing cars, you got people in your life who've been teaching you how to fix cars or anything that you have learned, and you just start getting into life, and it's like, man, that's just something I know how to do. You know how to fix a brake, like, in seconds. But the moment somebody asks you what you do, oh, man, I just work here, or I just work here. Nah, if you got the second house lord in the third house, man, you better utilize your mechanical motherfucking skills or whatever. And it goes into all different kind of realms of realities. But how you find the money with the second house lord being in the third house is going to be in your surroundings or dealing with a person, place, or thing you're familiar with. You may know somebody. Now you have to be familiar with it. It got to be something you're familiar with. Now it could be a person you're familiar with. You follow this person around, you may lead to the money. It could be a thing that you're familiar with, a gadget that you got. It leads you to the money, or a situation, a circumstance, or a place that you always go. You know what I'm saying? Or something that you know. And how you end up finding and end up stumbling across some situations is the more you value and feel like you have to offer things in your surroundings. That's taking the second house and placing it in the third house. The more you take what you value, what you have to offer to the world, and apply that to your surroundings and everything you're familiar with, the more you're going to be able to access the fruits and labor out of both houses and find the money and stumble across some type of situations. Now, second house lord in the fourth house. Now, where you're going to find the money out here is somewhere in the home, somewhere dealing with private issues, somewhere dealing with something dealing with domestic issues. A lot of caseworkers have this placement. A lot of people who may value other people's loss or other people's domestic. So a lot of people who work in the death homes and put makeup on people who dead and stuff, or work in nursing homes and shit, got this kind of placement. Second house lord in the fourth house. You see what I'm saying? Somewhere dealing with gaining emotional stability amongst something or somewhere. This is where you're going to find the money. This is what kind of jobs you need to get. Now, how you're going to stumble in them kind of situations is taking the second house and applying it to the fourth house. The more you value and feel like you have to offer to the world something that's dealing with the home, or dealing with private, or dealing with domestic issues, or dealing with family, or dealing with, and it don't have to be just your own. See, people get that fucked up. See, the fourth house is dealing with home and things of that nature in general. So you have to understand, real home is within you, but it could be anywhere of a home. It could be your home, someone else's home, your family, someone else's family, your domestic issues, someone else's domestic issues, your emotional stability, someone else's, your way of caring, someone else's way of caring. You see what I'm saying? Because it's even where you gain emotional stability amongst wherever you feel most comfortable at. And that could be your own home or a friend or a relative house. You see what I'm saying? So money is going to be there. You may have to help someone's domestic issues out. So who is those? These are people who help little kids find homes, help older people. These people work in rehabs. They help people who need rehabilitated. These people even COs. You know what I'm saying? Second house lord in the fourth house is a lot of shit. When people are dealing with domestic issues, people need people like you in this world. You see what I'm saying? So that's where the money going to be at. Because you got a secure emotional stability amongst yourself, and you know how to value these things. So that kind of power and strength could be utilized in this world for those kind of jobs. You know what I'm saying? For people who are unstable, people who are straight, like stray animals, like lost, people who don't got family, parents may have got killed, or they're maybe up for an adoption and things of that, all kind of things. You know what I'm saying? You are the kind of person in the world that can take care of these kind of situations with the second house lord in the fourth house. You know what I'm saying? Now, second house lord in the fifth house. Now, if you got second house lord in the fifth house, here's where you're going to find the money. You're going to find the money somewhere in how you express yourself, or how you receive expressions, dealing with the three entertainment mechanisms, how you entertain, or how you choose to entertain, or the things that you choose to entertain. For an example, the things you choose to entertain could be a person, place, or thing, conversation, or whatever, a show, movie, whatever, something that you into. How you entertain is how you entertain others, and the things that you entertain by is the things that you entertain by. These are the three mechanisms. Then it's your fun, and it's your creative mechanisms also. How you get the things that you're creatively into. So if you got the second house lord in the fifth house, that's where the money gonna be at. Pay attention to what you creatively into. Pay attention to what's fun to you, what's entertaining to you. Pay attention to the things that you're entertained by. You know what I'm saying? If you got water in the water sign in the fifth house, you may be entertained by uh fucking mysticism or something like that. You know what I'm saying? If you got fire in the fifth house, you may be entertained by spirituality and things, and action and things of that nature. If you got air in the fifth house, you may be entertained by romance and social awarenesses and communication and talking and shit like that. You got earth in the fifth house, you may be entertained by reality shit that's real, shit that's practical, shit that makes sense, how to make some money. You know what I'm saying? So in general right there. So the fifth house, you know what I'm saying, with the second house lord in the fifth house, that's where the money gonna be at. Now, how you get there is, and stumble across these type of situations, you have to start looking there. So basically, it's the more you value and appreciate and feel like you have to offer to, and feel like these are things you have to offer to the world, something you're creatively into, something you're entertained by, a way you express yourself, the things that you do to have fun. You see what I'm saying? That's where the money gonna be at, and that's how you're gonna stumble across it. Now you got, let's say, second house lord in the sixth house. Now anytime Earth house share things, is going to play like similar roles. So second house lord in the second house lord in the sixth house, and second house lord in the 10th house, and all those interchangeable ways is going to play out in similar ways. So, but just in different outlooks, different outviews. The outcome may be even different, but the outcome is in the same mechanism of reality type shit. So when you talk about second house lord in the sixth house, the more where the money is gonna be at is, motherfucker, get up and find a motherfucking job. That's where the motherfucking money gonna be at. The more you know how to incorporate an enterprise and get your ass in a job. So you're gonna be one of these type of people that you may see other people come across, like Like, for an example, a person with the second house lord in the third house. This may be a person who got a lot of ideas and a lot of skills, but they may not never accomplish nothing until they finally get a hold of something. They may be the jack of all trades before something. For an example, a person who know how to do a lot of shit in their neighborhood, but never applied it to anything. You know what I'm saying? But the second house lord and the sixth house, these people, they don't give a fuck about that shit. They think what makes sense first is, okay, let me get a job first and make some money first or whatever like that. Then think about that. Then these people are even able to do that type of shit on the side because they see where you going wrong, because they might be criticizing to a certain degree, criticizing other people's ways of getting things done and working in their schedules, and they'd be like, damn, this person could be doing this with this. You know what I'm saying? So then they end up actually doing hair in the neighborhood or doing breaks if you're a guy in the neighborhood, right? And making way more money off of it than you, and you've been doing it for a long time, and these motherfuckers got jobs. You know what I'm saying? So they, you know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers know how to get it in. So, you know what I'm saying? So if you'll be real hard on yourself if you're not in this kind of situation, if you got a second house lord in the sixth house. If you ain't got nothing to work on, or no job, or no work in general, you be hard on yourself. You're gonna criticize yourself more. You're gonna be the most criticizing person ever. Because they say a person who criticizes others the most is the person who criticizes themselves. Really, they really don't like that about themselves. You see what I'm saying? So, with the second house lord being in the sixth house, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times the money is gonna be when your ass get up and get a job, because then you start to put yourself in energies and vibrations where you start to meet people who can take you to other places. These people who end up finding ways to be the boss faster than others, be the manager faster than others, having one job as a leeway to get to the next level, and then they end up finding a way better job than that job. Then they ain't got to work there no more. These people excel in that kind of realm. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the money ain't gonna be for you. So even if you're a person who don't got no creative idea or nothing like that, make having jobs your way of ideas. Like when people are like, man, this is how much I could blow this bubble gum. You should be talking to people like, hey, this how much I put in, this how many applications I put in today. Make that an art. You know what I'm saying? Even if you ain't even considering getting hired or nothing like that. Just you stepping in these realms of realities, you're carrying a vibration and an aura that's going to slide you into areas of where some real serious money is at. You know what I'm saying? To the point that it's going to make you, something going to jump into you to make you want to work on some shit. Like, God damn, I want to do this now. You know what I'm saying? I would have never known to do this if I ain't work here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I would have never knew how to do that. I would have never met this person that took me to this corporate enterprising job if I would have never worked here. So these are people with these kind of conversations, you know what I'm saying? Or if I would have never done that. So that's second house lord in the sixth house. So how you get there and stumble across some situations is taking the second house lord and apply it in the sixth house. You have to you have to look at what you have to offer to the world and see what you value and apply that to your work, health, what you're working on, routine, scheduling, day-to-day tasks, and all that. So that's what you're valuing. You're valuing your work. The more and more you value whatever you're working on, whatever you're creatively working on, the more and more you value your work, your job, the more and more you value your health, your day-to-day routine, your scheduling, things you do on a day-to-day task, the more and more you value your criticism skills and your detailing. Shit. Now, second house lord in the seventh house. Now, with the second house lord being in the seventh house, where the money gonna be at is through your relationships, and through the better way you know how, and the way you know how to relate to people, places, and things. The better you know how to relate to people, places, and things, that's where the money is at. You see what I'm saying? And your relationships on all sorts, partners, business, shit. You may be the one who stumble across a relationship that changed your life just because you planted that seed to get into that relationship, and that person ended up becoming rich or some shit like that. You see what I'm saying? Things like that. That's where the money gonna be in your relationship. So your business partnerships, your mateships, your family ships, whatever like that. Pay attention and value and appreciate and feel like your relationships is something you have to offer to the world. Because if you're around somebody who got a certain amount of swag or spark that can get into a certain amount of areas and they're vibrating frequencies real high, you know what I'm saying? Value that person, because that's your way to the money. Now, these people could be a little manipulative at times, or they could be leeches, or a little bit reliable. You know what I'm saying? So sorry if you got the second house lord in the seventh house. You know, so I gotta speak the truth sometimes. Y'all people could be leechy at times. Y'all people could rely on others at times. But for the most part, from a deep down root, you guys just want to be a part of something, and you guys want to value what you're a part of. So that's how a little bit how things play out with the second house lord being in all the air houses, but it just play out a little bit more intensively on a one-on-one level when it's in the seventh house. All the air houses is the third, seventh, and the 11th. So they play out in different ways. Since the seventh house is the more of the one-on-one relationship house, you know what I'm saying? It comes more stronger. So a person may take their values and may value a person too strongly, may value a thing too strongly, may value a place too strongly. You see what I'm saying? So that's that second house lord in the seventh house. So because both of these houses share Venus, so anytime there's a strong amount of Venus, Venus can make you overindulge. Because what's Venus? Venus is love, appreciation, value, how you relate, and things that you're willing to compromise with. So Venus rules the seventh and the second house. So you take these things like you value and appreciate, and things that you relate to, things that you're willing to compromise with. You could value a person, place, or thing, but if you're doing it too much based upon how much it pleasures you, it becomes a habit. And anytime a habit is a habit, it becomes overindulgent, and overindulgent puts the bad in front of habit. So you see what I'm saying? You have to watch these houses when they come together. You know what I'm saying? So especially if you got Taurus in the second house, or Libra in the second house, or Libra or Taurus in the seventh house. Shit. You don't want that. You know what I'm saying? It may be very pleasurable, but goddamn. You know what I'm saying? You're a fucking bum somewhere. For real. Exhausted from your pleasures. Now, so now, second house lord in the eighth house. Now I got this placement right here, so I can genuinely speak on this. Now, second house lord being in the eighth house. Now this is actually a good placement, right? But see, with good placement comes power. Same way as the conjunction. So you kind of got open door access in this doorway to utilize it the way you want to. So try not to get on the negative end and be manipulative and create a lot of illusions and giving gabs over people. But if you work in a positive nature, man, your deepness and intenseness of research will go far. So for the second house lord being in the eighth house, this is where the money going to be at. The money is going to be in the dark. The money is going to be in secrecy. The money is going to be in a research. So that means things like research, digging up things that people don't know, understanding the unknown realm, understanding the behind the scenes realm, understanding you know what I'm saying, alternative motives. So that's unknown. That's not being seen. So for an example, a person with second house lord in the eighth house, it's important for you to not even be telling everybody how you make money. And if it is, if it is a situation where you have to tell somebody how to make money, they're not really going to truly understand it anyway. So if you're staying in a low vibrational city or something like that, and you have to do mechanisms like sell drugs and things of that nature, when you're in the second house or in the eighth house, you may be able to do it good because it's dealing with manipulation and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So you may be able to do things like this good. But that's the negative nature it can go in, especially into business. You could come into a business vulture. You want to take over and consume everything because you're not doing things based on the things that's in front of you, based on what we can see surface level, based on the material gain of it. You're doing things based upon the conscious wave of it, the current of it. You see what I'm saying? So this is your way of looking at money. You're not looking at money as the physical of it. A lot of times you may not even give a fuck about the sorry about that. A lot of times you may not even give a fuck about the actual physical of it, of what's going on. You understand the give and receive on a higher level, so you know what you're doing and you know how much you're going to get back. And to you, a lot of times it spreads out. It doesn't necessarily have to do with a particular. You understand giving and receiving from a broad perspective. So you don't care what you're giving or receiving, long as it's coming in a shape, form, or fashion. So you one of them type of people who can show someone else that you did receive what you wanted. It may not be what you wanted in that shape, form, or reality, but you still got to receive it. So you need to appreciate that shared value. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a second house lord in the eighth house can teach. Well, or people with a lot of planets in the eighth house can teach people in general, or Scorpios in general. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, with the second house lord being in the eighth house, what happens here is you see the behind the scenes realm of money. So you get the money is going to be in secrecy. So just think about all the things that people do secret. People have secret things of that. Look at people who run porn sites, people who are into astrology, occult mysticism, people who run see that's like forms of secrecy. People who are forms of digging up research, learning about things other people don't are unaware of, things that's not consciously in front of them. You see what I'm saying? That's where the money gonna be. See, that's secrecy. Also, when it comes into second house lord in the eighth house, money's from others in certain type of ways. You see what I'm saying? And through the dark. So you may get money through gambling or cheating or something like that, or inheritance or a death. You know what I'm saying? Things that's dealing with transformation. If you find ways to transform a circumstance, you may got yourself inside a business, right? But you start doing something that no one else was doing, everybody else was unaware of, and the stocks went up, so everybody in that business started doing what you was doing. So you actually changed the outlook of how that business make money. So you did something unaware, unseen, unknown, secrecy. You know what I'm saying? So that's second house lord in the eighth house right there. You know what I'm saying? Transforming something and having enough willpower and desire and passion to do it. Now, second house lord, and also how you stumble across those type of situations if you have the second house lord in the eighth house, such as myself, is valuing and feeling like what you have to offer to the world is the eighth house things, the behind the scenes realm, alternative motives, occult, secrecy, mysticism, life, death, sex, jealousy, greed, deep desire, power, transformation, control. You see what I'm saying? When I say life and death, that means transformation, putting death to something and bringing life to something. When I say sex, that means friction, the joining of two somethings to create something new. This is what eighth house represents. Now, second house lord in the ninth house. So where your money gonna be is your education level. A lot of teachers got this placement. A lot of gurus got this placement. A lot of the new age movers got this placement. A lot of these people who be channeling and shit like that, these motherfuckers are new age, and then a lot of fake conscious people that's so left brain. I mean, soon as they get into what something means, like the third eye or something. They start talking about all this logic shit. Oh, it's interfere with the shit, this shit. Oh, your light, oh shit, your eyes like a camera and shit. Man, fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? What we talking about here is some real shit. The second house lord of the ninth house is people who got this part, who have this type of placement though. You know what I'm saying? They can make money off their knowledge, off their wisdom, off their educational level, off their experiences in their life, whether they're street smart or book smart. You know what I'm saying? Their experiences in their life. They're able to be teachers / preachers. You know what I'm saying? They're able to be speakers in some type of way. Public speakers. People, second house lords in the ninth house too. Also, these are people who may get jobs. Say you work at General Motors, right, in Illinois, and you may have to, and you can make more money in the one in California or something like that, right? If you got the second house lord in the ninth house, excellent, excellent. If you don't got the second house lord in the ninth house, do not do it. You're gonna find yourself stumbling and falling. Even worse, you should have stayed where the fuck you was at. You see what I'm saying? So if you ain't got the second house lord in the ninth or the 11th house, don't go take your ass long distance traveling for the sake of a motherfucking job. But for the most part, you can do this if you got second house lord and if you got the second house lord in the ninth house. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you can do. And then a lot of you know what I'm saying? You can take any type of knowledge that you have. And as long as you value it and feel like these are things you have to offer to the world, your education level, your wisdom and knowledge, your experiences in life, you feel like this is what you have to offer to the world. You can't wait to get it out. You can't wait to teach others about this. Value that shit, because that's where the fuck the money gonna be at. Now, here's another earth complicity right here. Second house lord in the 10th house. So the money is going to be in how you're known, what you're known for, your status. So you know what you're known for. You know your status. You know your social awareness. You know your social media. You know things of that nature. For an example, me, what I'm known for. I'm known for this shit right here. I'm known for doing music. So that's what I'm known for. That's how I'm seen. Even though if I might, based upon my natural planetary alignments, I might not see myself this way. I might see myself as doing something else. But I have to accept this is how other people see me because the midheaven, aka the 10th house. You see what I'm saying? So if you at work or wherever you at and someone is describing you to you and you like, man, that's not me. I'm not like that. So you may be unaware of your 10th house. But if you knew your 10th house, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's why I come across like that. Because they don't really know me. So that's the first thing that they're picking up to think that they know me. You see what I'm saying? So when you have the 10th house, second house lord in the 10th house, you know what you're known for, how you're seen, because How you're seen and what you're known for later on in life can become your career, because how you're known and how you're seen is your status. You see what I'm saying? That's your status. How you're known and what you and how you're seen is your status. That's your pop. That's so how high you're vibrating with your status can make you popular or can make you lame. But that's your status. You see what I'm saying? So at the same time, when you want to talk about second house lord in the 10th house, start that's where the money gonna be at. Start when you start to understand what you're known for. Start valuing what you're known for. Start valuing and start feeling like this is what you have to offer to the world. Oh, this is what y'all know me for? Alright, you know what? This is me. I'm finna start jumping into this realm of reality and do this with all my heart. Boom, there you go. You know what I'm saying? That's where the money gonna motherfucking be. You see what I'm saying? Your status and things of that nature. Now, because you might got a gift and a talent that you never put to use. You might have went to school, you was good with computers and shit, and that's what you known for. But you out clubbing and partying all the time, and people be like, damn, like you good with computers and shit, like you good at drawing on clothes and shit. Why you don't ever keep doing that shit? Man, because this, that, or third, motherfucker. You better be watching Archangel Uriel videos, nigga. Now, second house lord in the 11th house. Now, with the second house lord being in the 11th house, where the money gonna be at is somewhere in the public, or dealing with an associate, or dealing with a family member, not like your brother or sister or mom or dad or like someone in the household, someone like an aunt, uncle, or cousin, or an associate, or someone you may or may not know. You know what I'm saying? Or dealing with the unknown in some type of way. Technology, science, occult, mysticism, and astrology. You know what I'm saying? That's where the money gonna be at with the second house lord in the second house. You know what I'm saying? Or when you're in the public. When you at work, you in the public. So say you may work at McDonald's or something like that, but you got this gift. You got this gift of talking like you on the radio or something like that, right? Now, if second house lord in the 11th house, you being at work, you already in the 11th house already, because you're somewhere in the public. You see what I'm saying? Now, working in general falls into your 6th house. So whatever you're working on or your job in general, you're talking about your 6th house. But the location of your job is in the public somewhere, away from the 4th house, away from your home. So it's in the public. You see what I'm saying? So anywhere you're in the public, whether you're at the mall or whatever, this, that, and the third, nigga, if you utilizing your shit, start valuing when you're in the public. Start valuing and appreciate. Feel like you have to feel like these are things you have to offer to the world when it comes to your family members, like your cousins, aunts, and uncles, or your associates, or people like you may got a close friend that you call and talk to every day, but you might got somebody that you go out with from time to time. You know what I'm saying? It's like an associate, or like you cool with them, but it's not somebody, not your first go-to, right? But see, that person, right, might be the person that leads you to the money. So I mean, that ain't got to become your best friend. You still can call your best friend and be like, hey, yeah, this, you know, that person I'll be hanging with from time to time. Shit, man, I went with them somewhere and we found the gang of fucking, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. That's how it works. So second house lord in the in the 11th house. You know what I'm saying? One of your cousins or uncles or aunts can help you a lot faster than your brothers and sisters or moms or dads. You see what I'm saying? With the second house lord in the 11th house. So that's and conducting yourself and stumbling over something in the public, making yourself part of organizations, part of something. You know what I'm saying? That's dealing with socializing and groupings and stuff of that nature. That's where the money gonna be at. And being associations, being associated with associations, being in some type of association. Now, last but not least, second house lord in the 12th house. Now everything gets tricky when it comes to the 12th house, because the 12th house is the collective conscious. So you're really not even supposed to care about a lot of the shit in the houses before the 12th houses when it comes to the 12th house. See what I'm saying? But for the most part, you know, with the second house lord, a lot of times the money is going to be in your creativity, in your imagination, in your fantasy realm. And so pay attention to a lot of things that you subconsciously do. Say you subconsciously like acting. You whenever you in realms of realities, you at work or you're shopping or you're doing something or you're having sex or whatever, and then those thoughts, everybody has these. Is there something that pop up that you can't stop thinking about doing? It's like you could be shopping. Man, I can't wait to get back to the crib to do this. You know what I'm saying? With me is music and this shit. With you, it may be art, it may be drawing, it may be something, it may be whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? When you doing something else other than that, these be the thoughts like, man, I can't wait till I get back to the crib so I can do this. I can't wait till I'm done with this so I can get back to this. Getting back to this being. You know what I'm saying? So that's your subconscious realm. How you already subconsciously act and things you already subconsciously do. So if you got a water sign here, you're subconsciously thinking about the emotions and feelings and thinking about being to yourself and dealing with the soul. If you have a fire sign here, you're subconsciously thinking about the spirit and thinking about ideas and acting on things. If you have an earth here, you're subconsciously thinking about reality and subconsciously thinking about getting from point A to point B and making sense out of everything. If you have air here, you're subconsciously thinking about communicating and socializing and sharing ideas. You know what I'm saying? So and being socially aware. So when you have the second house lord in the 12th house, that's where the money gonna be in your subconscious realm. So a lot of times, people, the subconscious realm is the uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of people's spiritual path. It's the uncomfortable realm. So a lot of times, people are uncomfortable presenting this realm of reality into the external realm. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has that. You got this idea, thought, I ain't gonna let nobody know about that. I ain't gonna show that. I ain't about to express that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? For real. If you, but that's all fine and dandy because you may need to do that with a second house lord with a planet alignment somewhere else. But with the second house lord in the 12th house, motherfucker, you better express all them motherfucking shits in your motherfucking dreams, nigga. Real. I ain't playing. Cause you made us do something that you ain't think so. This is for people who are in music, who do songs that they ain't even give a fuck about. And that be the song that blew up. They be like, damn, I wasn't even about to release that song, and that song just took off. Yeah, your motherfucking ass probably got the second house lord in the 12th house. You got all kind of ideas and imaginations you feel weird about and shit like that, right? But shit, you better value that shit, right? You better feel like these is one of the things you have to offer to the world, because you know why? That's where the motherfucking money gonna be. Flight boss, bitch, got that. And I don't even know how to stop this shit.